The publication I chose to talk about for my video reflective essay is Chapter 12, The Culture of Peace, of the book titled Psychological Components of Sustainable Peace by Douglas Fry and Marta Miklagowska. The culture of peace is this global movement to shift humanity from a culture of war to a culture of peace. And it doesn't just tackle combating mass violent conflict, but it's also in the way how we as humans deal with day-to-day conflict with our peers, with our family, and with our community. And so it talks about three different components of doing that. The first component is moving from self-enhancement values to self-transcendence values. The second is being able to identify with the collective us, with the collective world. And the third is increasing codependence amongst nation states and the international community to solve some of the most pressing issues. And some people argue that it's a very hippy-dippy, la-di-da type of theory, very optimistic, but I personally think we need that kind of optimism. And that's what I love about working at USIP is everybody's optimistic of this larger goal of us creating a culture of peace. And I don't really have to go and explain too much about what USIP does to create this culture of peace. We work in conflict zones all over the world on issues ranging from gender to electoral violence to peace agreements amongst actors within violent conflict. But the Global Peace Building Center, which is the team that I work for over at USIP, is our public education department. And one of the biggest things that they talked about in the culture of peace is using education as that tool to essentially create this culture of peace. And that's what we do at GPC, is we try and encourage teachers not just of social studies, but teachers of science, of math, of English, of any subject really, to incorporate these peace building skills and these peaceful conflict resolution skills into their curriculum. And restorative justice practices in schools also ties into a lot of the work that we do. And essentially what we've done is we've created toolkits, one for middle school and one for high school aged teachers, and they are filled with lessons and activities that teachers can incorporate into their lesson plans. It's been translated into Arabic, French, Spanish, and whenever we have a colleague that's going to travel abroad, we like to give them a few of these toolkits so they can get out to teachers there. And it's been really, really effective and really beneficial to the larger movement of creating a culture of peace through educating a new generation of peace builders in a way that they haven't been educated before. I've learned a lot from my time over at USIP, and this Culture of Peace publication really reflects that. It's a stark reminder that change takes time. When I look at some of the people that have been working on a lot of these conflict issues at USIP for decades, it's only now that they're seeing those real positive effects of the work that they've been doing. And it kind of ties into why I chose this field to begin with, and why I chose this internship to begin with. I've always believed that kind of the Jimi Hendrix quote, when the power of love overcomes the power of hate, the world will know peace. And it's when and only when the world comes together and views one another as one, will we see these problems being addressed in an accurate manner, in an effective manner. And I think that my work with the Bernie Sanders campaign, with Progressive Democrats of America, my concentration as in political and social action, and GPC's overall goal of engaging new audiences in peace building, it all ties into this idea of a culture of peace. How can we engage people to shift values, to elect officials into office that represent these values? How do we educate an entire generation, an entire society, an entire world to resort to peaceful conflict resolution management skills rather than violence? It's a very complicated and a very large vision, and it's not going to happen for the next few generations, but I know that the little bit of work that people are doing now and the little bit of work that people will continue to do in the future, it's all going to contribute to that. And even though we may not see that change in our lifetimes, we know we're planting the seeds, and that alone is really comforting. And it just, reading things like this just, it lights my passion even more, and I think it's all gonna be worth it.